name is Johnny Lawrence and welcome to Live Talk. Every episode of Live Talk, I'll be talking and having a conversation with somebody who is knowledgeable and passionate about a particular subject or topic and ask for their insight. Today, I have good friend and business coach, Sara Webb with me. Hey, Sara, you all right?
Hi, how you doing?
Are we friends?
Not really.
Oh, well, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, I'd prefer you didn't say that on camera.
Okay, fair enough. That's okay. I'll accept that. That's just my ego bruised. Thank you. During a global pandemic and a financial crisis, many people will be looking to potentially start their own business as an option moving forward. What sort of advice would you give them as a business coach?
Don't do it. No. There's a couple of things that I think are really important. The first one is market research. Now, market research sounds like I'm asking you to, put together a survey and ask 4 million people. But actually what I would say is we all come up with brilliant ideas. Johnny, you have a brilliant idea every other day and bore me with them, but we all have them. But here's the thing that you do, Johnny, when you come up with a brilliant idea, who is the first person that you might ask or might talk about to this?
Probably my wife, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Caroline has always got your back. So, well, most of the time. Actually, I'm thinking Caroline doesn't count because she'll probably tell you that you're talking nonsense. So that was a bad example. But my point is that we come up with these great ideas and then we talk to our friends and family about how wonderful they are. And that bias, we all know bias exists. And when your friend says, hey, I've got a really good idea for a business, we all tend to go, yeah, sounds really great. And then we add to the story with like, yeah, you could do this and you could do that. And what starts off as an initial great idea gets bigger and bigger because all your friends and family and people you know are adding to it. Here's the thing, their bias means that they're not really critical about what you're doing. You've got bias because it's your idea and you're brilliant, Johnny, of course. So therefore, it just adds to, I've got a brilliant idea right now. I'm going to invest £10,000 and get my website up and running. I am going to go ahead and do this and put it in plan because it's brilliant. There's no market research in there because market research is never ask anyone you know. So you need to create, what you're trying to understand is what problem are you solving for whatever it is you're doing. So for instance, McCain's jacket potatoes, they solve a problem of busy mothers or busy people having time to put the oven on and bake a potato for an hour. So you go and you buy this already made jacket potato and pop it in the microwave. It's a very definite problem that you're solving. It's not even about food, it's about time. And you've got to start thinking whatever it is you want to do, whether it's a product or a service, are you solving a problem? What is that problem? And then talk to people about whether they want it. Now, don't talk to your friends and family. In fact, don't talk to anyone that you can connect. So what I would suggest is that you find real people that aren't connected to you and ask them. So if, Johnny, you want to run a personal training business, everyone that knows you will be too scared to tell you that's a bad idea. So therefore, you need to go out and actually find a client and get that client to come in and pay money. You would do that before you start buying all of the equipment you need as a personal trainer. So there's lots of ways of making sure that you do that market research. So I would say, do it by finding clients that would potentially pay for it, not people that you know. People that you know will always tell you that you're great, Johnny. And the second thing, so you've got to make sure that research is in place, that you can genuinely know that people want this product. We all think that people want products. There are 1,000 stories of warehouses in the UK where somebody's ordered something, they've had it made in China, they've had 1,000 pieces made and they've come in and no one's bought it. And they spend the next 10 years trying to get rid of them. So it's important that you don't do that.
In your experience, have you had people that have come to you with an idea that you potentially don't think is a good idea? and they've had no research or anything done to it, and you tell them that, and they've done it anyway?
Well, first of all, as a coach, I would never say, well, unless I'm talking to you, I would never say that's a dumb idea, because who am I? Because I've got my own bias. I don't know. So what I would say is, let's look at whether people will buy this. Who have you spoken to? What are you doing? How are you testing this?
Okay.
Have people... I don't think I'm important enough really for people to have listened to me and then gone against what I say. I feel like, Nate, has that happened? It's certainly happened, and it's been a failure.
Right.
And then I have to sit back, because I'm not about, and as I said, that's not me saying I let the finances and the research speak for themselves. That's my second point, finances. I'll come back to that. But I believe they tell the story. So when someone comes to me, I don't need to tell them whether it's a good or a bad idea. I need to make sure that their research is in place.
So in a nutshell, what you're saying is you need to justify your idea.
Yeah. But be careful with that, because you could justify any idea for hours.
How about financially justify?
Yeah, financially and research. Will people buy this product? Because it could be brilliant, but if people don't buy it because they use something else, then it's not going to work.
So, okay, you get an idea, you justify it financially, you justify it with research. What would be the next logical step?
Well, I don't think at this point you've done finance. I think, unless you've done it on the back of a cigarette packet, but I think, okay, you go, right, I've got an idea, this is what I'm going to do. Like I had a client who wanted to open a business in a caravan in a garden centre, and it was a great idea, and it was helping children actually, so it was brilliant. But it was helping them with their schoolwork after school, so it was somebody that was qualified to be able to help children get further in their education. But when we looked at, this is going to cost you this much for the rent, it's going to cost you this much to buy a caravan, and bear in mind that children are in school for the majority of the day, there's only this amount of time that you can teach those children, because past 8 p.m. they're not going to be there, and they're not there during the school time. And they will do weekends, but they'll be more hesitant to do weekends. We then crunched those numbers. We put all the costs together. We put the ability to get sales, and we realized there was no money in that business. So I think if you're looking at a startup and you want to understand whether it's going to work, doing a forecast, which is literally where you look at your costs. What are my costs? How much does this cost me? How much would I pay somebody else to do it? Because it's very easy. We see startups all the time where they don't pay themselves. So what they end up with a business that might, in the first year makes £10,000. Yeah, great, you've made £10,000. Apart from you haven't paid yourself, and you would have got more money working in Tesco's. And I think that's a reality. Also, sorry, I didn't let you speak then. I've learned.
Sorry.
Also, you need to just do it not for a year, because it might be that you only make £10,000 in the first year, but your ability to grow is in there. So you know that it's going to take you a year or you could be running at a loss for that first year. But maybe in year two, you're kind of just breaking even. Maybe in year 3, you're making $500,000. However, which would be nice, right? However, you need to know that before you start. One of the things I see a lot is cost of product. So if you're making jewelry, say you decide that you're going to make this beautiful hand-finished silver jewelry, knowing how much it costs to make that is so important. What's your time spent doing it? What does it cost to buy the silver? What does it cost to do the marketing? What does it cost to drive your car that you need to get to and from the office? What does it cost for your equipment? And all of those costs have to go in to a financial forecast. And often people that want to start businesses are very excited, very creative, and this is the part they do not want to do. I don't know whether you've ever experienced that, Johnny. No, that's something that you may have suffered from. You're like an ideal case of what not to do.
Ouch. So what you're saying in a way is, apart from the horrible stuff you're saying to me right now, is that you could have a really lovely, well-meaning, beautiful idea that everyone thinks is fantastic, but it might not pay. It might not work. It will fail in a sense of it will make you money.
And that ability, that the cost of the product or the service is what matters. And remember, your time is a cost. So you have to work out how much you would pay somebody else if you're making jewelry. How much would you pay someone else to make that jewelry? Because that's the only way that you really know whether this business is going to fly. And it doesn't mean it's a no. What it means is you change what you're doing. So maybe your handmade jewelry is partly finished before it comes to you, or maybe you buy a slightly cheaper product, which makes it easier to sell. You have to make those decisions based on the financial information, not on what looks good or what feels good or how you think. I'm basically saying remove the emotion. I guess with all of this, market research from people you don't know, and that can hurt. If you have a brilliant product and your research says that people won't buy it, it sucks. But it's much better for it to suck at this point than when you've invested 10 grand on your website or whatever it is you're doing. And the same with the financials. You do not want to be in a business for 3 years to discover that you're never going to make a profit. Because at that point, and also the other thing that this helps you do is understand cash flow. And your cash flow is so important. You have to have enough money in the business to be able to get through however long it is you're not going to make a profit. And so whether you need £10,000 to start with or £500,000 or a fiver is all in those figures. And I would say there are people that can help you with this, that can clearly, like me, right? Business coaches do this quite a lot. But that idea of being able to have somebody help you also takes the emotion away. It doesn't have to be a business coach. It could be, if you've got a friend that's an accountant, they're very helpful in doing this process. Or somebody that isn't, but it has to be someone that's not attached to the numbers, because otherwise they'll use their bias to make it look better than it should.
So very quickly, we've got a few minutes left. Is there any so you've justified it, you've got your research, you've done the financials. What would be that next next piece of advice you would give?
Thinking about 2020 and that lovely year, that fun year that we've had, businesses have had to be able to pivot. So this is your ability to change and change fast. If you're creating a business now, are you creating a business that is specific to lockdown or to restrictions? And if you are you going to be able to change? If you're not creating a business that's about lockdown and you're creating a restaurant, say it's a restaurant, will you cope if we have a lockdown that comes in for 3 months? So are you creating something that can change for the changing environment? I think the one thing that we know right now is we don't know what's coming around the corner. And some businesses have flown, right? Some businesses have done so well during this. Other businesses have changed what they're doing. They're not making gin, they're making hand sanitizer. Whatever it is, they're changing, and other businesses have been unable to do that, partly because of the terrible situation that we're in, and also because none of us knew this was really going to happen. Certainly none of us knew this was going to happen to this extent. So I think that, is your business flexible? Are you creating something that's going to get burnt out because you can't change? And are you willing to change? You've got to be willing. I mean, very important for startups. You've got to go in wholeheartedly, 100%. Startups are not easy. A lot of them fail. So you've got to be in it. Like, you've got to be like taking that step forward and be prepared to do what it takes. But secondly, you've got to learn from your mistakes.
So to summarize, research, do the financials, and be prepared to pivot when change comes along.
Absolutely. And then it's all dead easy.
Sara, thank you very much for your time today. Much appreciated. And hopefully we'll get to do this again.
Okay. Nice talking to you.
And you. Bye.
Bye.